This recording will be sent out sometime tomorrow. Attached to that recording will be a questionnaire. The questionnaire should take you no more than 5 minutes to fill out. It's just a couple of questions. So if you could take the time to review that, fill that out, and then you can go back and review this recording. Another thing that we will have available is the chat feature. We are going to have a designated Q&A at the end of the session. So if you do want to ask questions, I would probably tell you to hold off until the Q&A session to ask those questions. And then from there, I'll also allow people to come off mute. If you want to come off mute and ask your questions, you can absolutely do that. If not, I would use that chat feature and ask your questions there. So without further ado, I will pass it off to our presenters today. Blake, if you want to take it from here.
Yeah. Thank you, RJ, for the introductions. As he mentioned, my team here is myself, Tara, and Dave. We are all recruiters for Walt Disney World Resort here in Central Florida. And we're here to talk about some of those hourly opportunities to work in our parks and resorts throughout Walt Disney World, as well as answer any questions that you guys might have. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'll talk a little bit about myself. So my name is Blake and I'm a recruiter on our casting services team. Can you guys hear me okay? Is it better? The microphone?
Yes, we can hear you.
Second, sorry. While I figure this out, Dave and Tara, if you want to do one of your introductions, and I will get myself back on screen.
Yeah, sure. You can go ahead and start, Tara.
So welcome, everyone. My name is Tara. I've been with the Walt Disney Company for the last 15 years. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. I started out with the company of having my college program where I attended the Culinary Institute of America. And then once I finished my college program, which was in baking and pastry, I came down to Florida, of course, because I wanted to work for Disney. I had such a great time on my college program. So at the time, there was nothing available in the baking and pastry department. So at that time, I was introduced to a new role called Children's Activities. So you might have seen those like pool parties and campfire sing-alongs with kids. So I was a part of that team at the Yacht Beach Club and Boardwalk Resort for about 4 years. Later working my way up to a children's activities coordinator, which then learned how to be a lifeguard, where I worked at the Grand Floridian and the Polynesian Resort. Then I took my next step and began a leadership casting call where I was a housekeeping manager for the last 11 years at Saratoga Springs Resort. And about 6 of those 11 years, I was our housekeeping process manager. So really taking care of our cast, taking care of their schedules and their time pay. And then where I ended up now as a recruiter for our casting services team. So just a little bit about my background. And Dave, go ahead.
Sure. So good afternoon, everyone. I guess depending where you're at in the country, I'm seeing it's about afternoon everywhere. So yes, my name is Dave. I have been with the Walt Disney World Company for 14 years. I'm originally from Indianapolis, Indiana. When I was attending IU, Indiana University, the Disney College Program recruiters came up and did a presentation on the internships. At the time of going to school and getting my degree in marketing, I spent the summers working at Cedar Point in Ohio. So I always had the fascination of working in amusement parks, theme parks as a career, but didn't really think about Disney until the Disney folks came up to Indiana and did those presentations at IU. So saw the presentation and pretty much got hooked. So I came down and did a 4-month internship doing the college program where I was driving these safari trucks over at Kilimanjaro Safaris at Disney's Animal Kingdom. That's where I got started. And then I pretty much fell in love working at Disney and living in Orlando. So I decided to stay. So I became a server at a couple of the resorts, and I also did some private dining, which is the room service at the resorts as well, until I decided that I want to go ahead and finish up my degree in marketing. So I did that. And once I finished, I applied for a few internships, a couple in marketing, and I fell in love working in the park. So I applied for the management and actually went that route. So I did the management internship over at Disney Hollywood Studios. And after that, out of the 14 years, I was a leader for about close to 12 years, being a leader in 3 out of the 4 theme parks. I also was over guest relations. I also was a leader over in the water parks. So I was in recreation. And then I had the opportunity to become a food and beverage manager over at Golden Oak. And just in case if you don't know what Golden Oak is, that is our only residential community on property. So there's about 300 multi-million-dollar homes. We got some celebrities you might know, along with some professional athletes in the NBA and also NFL who own homes over at Golden Oak. And then from there, I had the opportunity to become a duty manager, where I was in charge of in the park operations at Epcot and also at the water parks. Which then I kind of late in about as of April of last year became a recruiter in HR. So as you can see with my path in the last 14 years, one thing I love about Walt Disney World is that I was able to have a lot of experiences, learn a lot of new things in different areas and meet new people. And that's why I love working for Disney and not planning on going anywhere. So that's pretty much my story. And I'll go ahead and turn over to you, Blake.
Awesome. Let's try this again. Hopefully my camera doesn't go out. So my name is Blake. I actually started my Disney career about 5 years ago. I started out at the Disneyland Resort in California. I worked as a part-time hourly cast member in attractions, and I was able to grow through some leadership roles out at Disneyland. I joined our casting services team about a year ago, almost February of last year. As a recruiter for Disneyland, and then I was able to do some work supporting both Disneyland and Walt Disney World, and then decided to make the move out to Florida. And now I primarily help support our hourly recruitment efforts here at Walt Disney World. So super excited to be able to walk you guys through this presentation and share with you a little bit about the opportunities that we have available with us at Disney World. But one of the things that we're going to kind of talk about before we get into the specifics of Walt Disney World is just the Walt Disney Company in general. At Walt Disney World, we are part of the Disney Parks Experiences and Products division of the company. So that includes all of our major travel destinations like Disneyland in California, our parks overseas like Shanghai and Hong Kong, our cruise line, Aulani out in Hawaii, Adventures by Disney, which goes all over the globe, Walt Disney Imagineering. Then there's also the Disney Media, Entertainment, and Distribution areas, which is primarily our streaming services platforms like Disney Plus, ESPN, Hulu, and Hotstar for international audiences. And then we have our Content Group Studio segment, which is going to be all of those studios like animation, Marvel, Lucasfilms, theatrical group for Broadway productions, both in New York and touring, as well as the general entertainment content. And this is going to be where like 20th Century Television, ABC, FX, and our Disney branded television like Disney Channel fall under. So we are just one small part of a very large company, but we offer the great opportunity to get your foot in the door and hopefully be able to continue your whole career throughout different segments of the company. For instance, there was a time where I was able to do a temporary assignment within the company and actually move from supporting the parks and experiences recruitment over to the media and entertainment distribution, and I actually helped support recruitment efforts for Hulu advertising sales. And then I came back to parks because that's where I wanted to be. But that's just one part of my story that, you know, you're able to move in and out of these different segments. Once you get that foot in the door, a lot of opportunities open. But like I mentioned, we're here primarily to talk about our recruitment efforts, which are those hourly roles at Walt Disney World. So I'm going to pass it over to Tara, who's going to talk to you a little bit about some of those roles that we recruit for.
Alrighty, thank you. So for some of our hourly roles, right, we're in the hospitality industry. So as you can see, the roles that we're looking for are attractions, merchandise, quick service restaurant, which that can also be considered like fast food if you think about that. But we call it quick service, resort concierge, security, stewarding, transportation, lifeguarding, housekeeping, custodial. And with our cook positions, we actually have like a 3-tier. So like an entry level will be like a cook 2, and then a cook 1, and then a chef assistant. So some of these, you know, it's nice to have a little bit of background, but it's not necessarily for all of them. And then when you do have that interview with us, you know, we will basically be giving you all the insight to every single one of these roles to see if it would be the right fit for you. So on the next slide, a little bit, right, about our benefits and perks. So this I absolutely love. Our company provides so much, but right, the first one, weekly pay. So Thursday is, of course, our very favorite day of the week because that is our payday for us. Next, we have our health insurance. So that is for full-time and part-time as well. So as like for let's say your medical, your eye care, things of that nature, dental, we provide that. Retirement programs, we have pension plans, 401ks, paid time off, tuition assistance, which we'll get into about in the next few slides. Wellness programs. So one of examples of our wellness program. So for example, if you were to go and see your doctor for your physical, that is notated, obviously, because then you would be using your health insurance, and Disney actually gives you money to put forward towards, future medical visits or prescriptions that you may need. So just a few different wellness programs that we have. The big one, obviously, also child care support. Disney World does provide 2 different child care supports at the YMCA, and they range from hours from 6 in the morning till about 11 o'clock at night, which is super helpful, obviously, since you have to be pretty flexible in your schedule, but it's definitely nice to know that you do have that support system to take care of your family. Career development, and of course the big one, theme park admission, right? So you would be able to get into the park for free, as well as 3 guest passes that you can use 16 times for the year. And then also they give you different types of paper stubs as well for different seasons. So obviously getting in the park, right? Just a random Friday night, right? Going to the park, that's always really nice to do with family or friends. Exclusive discounts. We provide, Disney Cruise Line is a really great one that I know a lot of us are taking advantage of right now. We get a definitely great discount for those, as well as not just things that in Disney, right, your merchandise or maybe some discounts on your food when you're in the parks, but also things outside. So for example, like on my phone bill, I'm with T-Mobile, I get a discount on my phone bill because I work for Disney, which is a nice thing to have. Next, community involvement. So lots of volunteer programs that we have, so you can be out there in the community, as well as commuter assistance.
All right, well, I'm going to touch base on the tuition assistance. So Disney Aspire program, it's a fantastic program. So as you can see there, 100% tuition is paid up front at network schools. Fees, books are also reimbursed. Hundreds of programs and degree options from skill building to master's degrees. So if English is not your first language, or someone who's interested in working for Disney and English is not their first language, we do offer English courses. We also just started a new culinary program as well, which we do have associate's degrees, bachelor's, and up to master's degrees. There will be coaching along the way to help you succeed, and flexible online courses so you can study when it works for you. So pretty much the only requirement to be part of the Disney Aspire program is that you just got to be full-time or part-time. So you got to be in an hourly role, part-time, full-time, and once you pass your 90-day probation period on day 91, you can apply for Disney Aspire. So like I said, it's a great program. I see a lot of people going through it, getting bachelor's and master's degrees. But it's something that you could be looking forward to after finish up your degree here and want to get a master's. It's a great opportunity. So if you're looking to apply, on the next screen, there's a couple QR codes. So you see there's the part-time, full-time, hourly opportunities. So if you are looking to applying for part-time or full-time, the requirements are for part-time, you gotta have at least 3 days of full availability, where you need to be available for 3 days, which you could be scheduled in the morning, afternoon, or in the evening. And then for the full-time, you have to have at least 7 days of full availability, once again, being available 7 days a week, all hours of the day. So if you scan the QR code for the part-time, full-time, we'll take you to an interest form. We'll fill out, let us know what you're interested in doing at Walt Disney World. And then as soon as you fill out that interest form, you'll be sent a link, a direct consideration link to your email to apply. On the flip side, you see there's seasonal hourly opportunities. So these don't come as frequent, but what this QR code will, once you scan it, it will put you into a database. So once those seasonal opportunities become available, we will send you an email, let you know when they do become open, if you decide you want to apply or not. So those two difference between those 2 QR codes, and then at the bottom you see there's the website. So if anyone interested in the college program, professional internships, or the hospitality leadership program, you also want to go ahead and check out that website to get more information. So part of the application process with some of our guest-facing roles, we'll have to go through a web-based interview. So what this is pretty much like a personality test. It takes about 30-40 minutes to do. And all the questions are either multiple choice, or it's going to be a question where you scale between 1 to 5. So you just want to make sure that you're a best fit to pretty much work in those type of roles here at Walt Disney World, which is guest facing. But yeah, it's just pretty much just little tips there that once again, 30-minute. If you do go through the web-based interview, please use a laptop or desktop. Do not use your mobile cell devices. But yeah, this is pretty much what we have to go through if you want to get into a guest facing role is going through the web-based interview.
Awesome. So as I'm sure you guys have kind of picked up as we've talked about some of the roles and things here at Walt Disney World, we like to use the word story a lot. We told our Disney stories, our career journey so far. We are a storytelling company. It's what the Walt Disney Company was founded on all the way back when it was just the animation studio. So at Disney, inclusion is for everyone. Our Reimagine Tomorrow is a way of amplifying underrepresented voices and untold stories, as well as championing the importance of accurate representation in the media and entertainment. Because we are all greater than a single story and we all deserve to feel seen, heard, and understood. So we want to make sure that our company is holding true to our storytelling history and we're telling the stories of everybody. And that everybody feels seen and heard through some sort of either Disney show, experience, so on and so forth. The awesome part about the Reimagine Tomorrow is that it is available for both employees and non-employees. So if you're interested in learning more about Reimagine Tomorrow, you're able to visit the website reimaginetomorrow.com, and it will go ahead and you can listen to some of our keynote recordings from previous speakers, both from inside the company and outside the company. And just learn a little bit more about the culture of our company and how we're stepping forward to make sure that everybody's story is being told. Now, in our hourly roles here at Walt Disney World, we also want to make sure that you can tell your story while you're at work. So we want to make sure that we're creating a work environment where everyone is welcome. So we'll never stop working to make sure that Disney is a welcoming workplace for all. And this includes some flexibility with our Disney Look. I don't know if you've heard about Disney Look before, but it's our guidelines that we ask all of our cast members to be in when they're at work, whether their role is guest-facing, interacting with our guests, or even back of house, so maybe like a cook in a kitchen. We want to make sure everybody is following the same look. And in the past couple of years, we've allowed more flexibility so you can have more forms of personal expression, such as gender-inclusive hairstyles, jewelry, nail styles, costume choices, appropriate visible tattoos. So now our cast members feel more empowered to express their cultures and individuality at work. This was huge for a lot of us that have been with the company for a period of time. This was a huge change that happened a couple of years ago, and we are so excited for it. And we're so excited that it now allows all of our cast to feel like they can truly be themselves while they're at work. So that is pretty much sums up everything that we have to talk with you guys about today in regards to working at Walt Disney World and the opportunities that we have. So now we'll just go ahead and open the floor for any questions. You guys can go ahead and type them out in the chat. And while anybody is asking any questions, I'm going to pull up the QR code slide one more time. And if you didn't have a chance to scan it earlier, once again, the QR code that's underneath part-time and full-time, we'll go ahead and link you to that application process to get started with us. The one for seasonal opportunities is more of a database form for us to let you know when we have opportunities available. And the website at the bottom is for those professional internships for college students, as well as the Disney College Program, which is a seasonal opportunity here at Walt Disney World as well. So I see the first question that we have is about benefits offered for interns as well. The professional internship recruitment process is handled by a different part of our team. And the best answer that I have for that is it depends on the professional internship. So some professional internships do offer full benefits, some offer some benefits. But if you're interested in any of those opportunities and you have the opportunity to interview with a recruiter, you'll want to ask them specifically about the benefits for that internship. And then those professional settings, as we mentioned before, those would fall underneath the professional internship program. So you'd want to check out that disneyprograms.com website. I'm not sure if the question specifically about specific programs for students pursuing a master's degree. Are you referring to the Disney Aspire program, or are you referring to like a professional internship program?
As people are thinking of questions to ask, you can definitely put them in the chat, or if you do want to come off mute, you do have the capability to come off mute and ask those questions, so feel free to do that.
And then there's a question here that they are an educator and are there any opportunities for educators? So we do have a lot of internal opportunities for our cast members to be in educational roles. We have orientations that are facilitated by our traditions team. But a lot of those opportunities, you do have to be a cast member prior, because we want to make sure that you have a good understanding of our company and our operations before you can apply for those opportunities. So definitely starting off in one of our hourly roles is a great way to get your foot in the door and open up to some of those opportunities maybe later down in the line in your career. Go ahead.
I was just wondering if there's any nursing opportunities.
Yeah, so as I kind of mentioned, it's very similar with the educator opportunities. We do have nurses both here at Walt Disney World and at the Disneyland Resort in California. But those postings, it's very highly sought after position because it's a very small team. And a lot of the times that will be posted internally, and we'll interview all of our internal applicants before we offer that role externally. So it's not always an opportunity to enter the company as, but definitely an area for growth once you've joined the company with us.
And regarding the questions for the IT majors, so if you have not done so, we as recruiters are pretty much our main responsibility is hiring the entry-level hourly roles between the theme parks and resorts, along with transportation, culinary, and also security. But for the IT majors, just make sure you check out the careers website. Now, with the careers website, it doesn't really just focus on Walt Disney World, but this is for the Walt Disney Company. So it depends on what type of IT you're looking to go into. But if you check out the Disney career site, you will see whatever opportunities are available for IT, not just here in the Florida-based region with the cruise lines and the Walt Disney World, but also for other sectors in the Walt Disney Company as well.
And then another question was, are there any human resource opportunities available? And I think the answer to this one is going to kind of follow what we mentioned earlier about nursing and education. There are human resource opportunities available, so you'll definitely want to check out that Disney Careers website, Disney Programs if you're interested in an internship. But I do know from at least most of our coworkers, we all became recruiters from within, because and that's our part of the HR opportunities, is they definitely liked that we already had the knowledge of operations and stuff before we stepped into the role of recruiting for those positions.
If I may interrupt, well, not interrupt, I did have a question. I used to work at Disneyland, actually, and I've always been curious about this because all of you had similar stories. I myself had a lead who said, "Oh yeah, I started in a churro cart. Now I'm the manager of so and so." So I've always been curious, how does that work? How do you climb the ladder? Are there any procedures? Are there any requirements that Disney has? Is you just working in the first place already has your foot in the door to be like, "Hey, I kind of want to go up to this next step, this next job opportunity. How do I get in?"
Well, I can tell you firsthand from being a leader for the last 12 years that this company is just so big, it boils just down to networking and just depending on where you want to go within the company. If regarding myself, you know, I have a marketing degree and I have a master's in executive MBA. And you know, if you would have asked me a year ago that I was going to move over to the HR and become a recruiter, I would probably said no, because I was just so focused on being on management until this opportunity came. And now I have an opportunity to work in HR and see what the HR world is all about. And I'm really, really enjoying it. But that's the thing, you just never know what kind of opportunities will come because they do have an internal website for professional positions just for folks who are working inside of Walt Disney World. So if you are looking to form a professional role and you do not want to go through an internship route, you have less competitiveness of already getting your foot in the door and applying internally than externally. Now, I will tell you that from my experience, that I have seen a lot of people who start off part-time, full-time, hourly, and I see them now working in a professional role in the cruise lines or working for Adventures by Disney or became a Disney Imagineer. The last person that worked for me over at the water park, she was a lifeguard coordinator, and through her networking with her communication degree, she now is working up in Connecticut for ESPN. And that's all through networking, I cannot stress how important enough that once you get your foot in the door, it's just to network with the folks that you want to go into, the area you want to go into, and just develop a mentorship, ask questions about what exactly they do, and just any kind of advice to get you to where they are. But it's, I can't preach it enough, but it's all about networking once you get your foot in the door.
All right, thank you very much. And if I may ask a second question, because I see I'm not the only one asking, are there any remote or work from home opportunities?
We're focusing more on our hourly roles. Like we mentioned earlier, you're more than welcome to go like on disneycareers.com to see if we have anything that is available. But unfortunately today we're just here for our hourly roles and how we can help you with that.
Okay, thank you very much.
I have a question. My name is Lewis. I was also a former cast member until the furloughs. Started in attractions and moved over to fireworks at Disneyland. And then I used the furlough to my advantage, went into IT. So long story short, a lot of people, I think, not speaking for everyone, but myself, are working and going to WGU because it's an online school and it helps balance out the work schedule with the education schedule that's needed. Will a presentation be offered later in the future regarding more professional internships or just roles within the company that expand beyond hourly roles?
Yeah, that's a great question. Our college professional internship team is a small but mighty team. So they typically don't have the extra capacity, especially during their peak internship recruiting times, to host a presentation similar to this style. However, a lot of them are super active on LinkedIn. So if you're on LinkedIn, definitely try to find them and connect with them. I know Maxwell Tubbs is a great recruiter for engineering programs over at Disneyland. He does a lot of other things on LinkedIn, like Ask Me Anythings with other recruiters in campus recruitment and stuff like that. So if you're not connected with him, I definitely recommend forming that connection on LinkedIn. But as for them hosting a presentation like this, they just typically don't have the bandwidth to hold the times like this. There was one quick question before we jump to someone else, but in the chat, it was for hourly opportunities. Is there housing available for employees similar to the college program, or would we be responsible for finding our own housing? For our hourly, part-time, and full-time, and even seasonal positions, you would be required to find your own housing, as the housing for college program is only available for college program students or students for some professional internships.
Could you repeat that name you mentioned earlier, Maxwell? What was the last name?
Maxwell Tubbs, Tubbs.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it.
Another question that came up in the chat, is there a veteran program with Disney and how do we join it? I know that we always look for veterans when we're going through applications and things like that, because you guys have a very unique skill set that we know can be very great for us here at Walt Disney World. I do believe that they are working on a more direct program, but there's more to come on that in the future. So hopefully we'll be back to do this presentation again in the fall or sometime, and we'll have a little bit more details about that. All great questions. Anybody have anything else that they want to ask us before we really give you some time back on this wonderful Wednesday afternoon?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I will go ahead and go back to that slide. So this is the slide of just some of our hourly opportunities. Unfortunately, we can't fit them all on one slide, but these are some of the top roles that we recruit for and offer for.
I did see the next question. Can we connect with you guys on LinkedIn? Absolutely, we encourage it. Stop by, ask us questions, but absolutely connect with us.
And then I'll go ahead and put it in the chat one more time, but for the professional interns website, you're going to want to go to disneyprograms.com. And then I will also put in the chat the website for those professional opportunities as well, which is disneycareers.com.
Hi, so I'm on my phone. Is there a way to get that QR code? Is this going to be available again?
Yes, I believe RJ is recording it and you're going to get it sent out to you in an email.
Okay,
And then you will be able to access that QR code from the email as well.
thank you.
Or from rewatching the presentation.
There, I noticed there's a question, who should we contact regarding professional salary positions? Once again, LinkedIn is a fantastic tool to use. I've seen many people connect with all kinds of positions of people actually working in the roles that you want to go into in the Walt Disney Company, just by reaching out to them and just setting up some time to see if you can talk to them, give them like a half an hour. So that way you can ask any kind of questions in the field that they're in and any kind of advice on how you can get there. But I think that's the best way for you to get in contact with someone in that professional salary position that you are looking for.
All right. So just a reminder to everyone that this session was recorded, and this will be sent out in an email probably by tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that if you want to go back and reference any of the information that was shared. And you can go back and rewatch this session. I do want to thank our friends at Disney for joining us today to share a lot of this information as far as the opportunities that they have. So thank you all for joining us and sharing, and thank you everybody for taking some time this afternoon to jump into the session.
Thank you, RJ, for having us. And like we mentioned, feel free to connect with any of us on LinkedIn if you have any questions in the future about working for us here at Walt Disney World.
All right, everyone, have a great rest of the day.
Hi, thank you.